So away you go.
I'm here with Colin French from the Kinglake Wilderness Camp. And tell us, Colin, about the vision that you have for what this can bring in the new Kinglake recovery.
Well, we wanted to, I guess, recover what we had before, which is a place where we taught adolescents about their place and sustainably living in it, and personal development. So they're the two things that we did. What we'd like to do going forward is also do that for organisations.
So sustainability leadership programs and strategy thinking around corporate positioning and all that kind of work.
Provide the place and the facility and the organisation development parts that we can do, but bring in the expertise from outside that allows them to develop, respond to the regulatory requirements that are imposed on them, or proactively develop strategies for their own businesses or organisations.
And the idea that you have for the actual infrastructure that will emerge here has some very different new technologies and approaches, doesn't it?
That's right. We're looking at pretty much any type of technology that is, I want to make sure is in the mainstream, so it's accessible, so it's A, practical for us to have here, and B, if anyone sees it, either from an organisation or even residential perspective, they know it's on the shelf, ready to go.
And what are some examples of the things that you're doing to build that?
Passive design, of course, and that's a given these days. We'll be looking at heliostat-based, probably PV systems. A new type of non-waste producing toilets, which are a step beyond composting toilets, which use virtually no water. The list goes on, and the way we're designing it is so that our multiple accommodation blocks can actually have a block can be rotating through, showcasing the next role of technology. So they won't all come forward together.
There'll be an evolution of what solutions are available.
There'll be about 8 cabins here, so they can all take on different aspects of green technology.
You're talking also, remember, about actually moving existing blocks of things here from other parts of Australia. And what's that about?
Well, it's about part of it's about cost, and part of it's about speed. I always also include human endeavour in my definition of good ESD practices.
And good ringtones on cell phones as well.
And look, a lot of these materials that we'll be using for buildings, which we have here already, would end up in landfill if they didn't find a home. So there's no greener answer than repurposing.
Absolutely.
So we're repurposing probably close to 50% of what we build here.
Where's the kitchen coming from?
The kitchen that's the kitchen you can see over there.
Fantastic.
That's come from a camp in Sydney that refurbished their camp and built that last year.
Wonderful.
And used it temporarily, and it's become surplus. We've bought from them and shipped it down. So it's landed in place for probably 25% of what it would cost to put new materials in.
It's like a great big eBay for camps that you're doing, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Fantastic, very good. And some of the challenges that you've confronted are really serious, aren't they? About just trying to get the approvals and trying to get the design to fit the cost structure, and you've got amazing grants because you're so entrepreneurial, but it's a challenge, yeah?
It's a challenge, it sure is. It's a little more complex than a residential project, but it's not a high-rise project, so it's somewhere in between. It shouldn't be too difficult, but I mean, some of the complexities are around responding to the bell. So we've just readjusted our bushfire attack levels. So we haven't been pushed to do it, but there's a lot of discussion around how much vegetation that we would need to clear, and whether we need to do offsets and that sort of thing. And when we looked at it, some of the clearing really would go through some areas, waterway areas that we don't want to clear. So we just said, all right, we'll redefine the envelope of existing, or that we will build within, to bring it closer into the centre of the site, and then utilise the buffer zones for things that would otherwise have been potentially in the centre of the site. So there's no parking in the centre. A very large permaculture garden will be in the buffers instead of jutting into the middle. So it's just and that takes time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the planning side is very important.
Yeah.
So, with like your best wishes and dreams in mind, when will this actually be open for kids and for corporates and for?
Well, you can hear kids in the background now. It's open
Yay,
right now.
They're here.
For some kids who have had a bit of a bump in their. I mean, they're not going down the gurgler, but they've had a bump in terms of their life as a result of the fires. They're all local kids, and this is a partnership between the Education Department and Victoria Police.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, and all their parents will be turning up in the morning.
Cool.
Anyway, so we're not using facilities other than canvas, so teepees and tents in this case.
Yeah, no, that's good. The teepees are beautiful.
Yeah. And what were you asking me, Mara?
About when the kind of broader rebuilding happens in the timeline.
Well, we are
because we're going to come back and video this story as it unfolds out of the ground. So.
Well, we're probably going to use a lot of prefab.
Yep.
So we already have prefab here,
yes,
but we're probably going to use a lot of prefab to build it, which means it gets done more efficiently.
Right.
Which means for us it's more efficient in terms of cost and also in terms of speed to do it.
Yes.
And it's, as I understand, it's a pretty green way to build.
Absolutely.
Because you all the materials to one place.
Yes.
So if all goes well, we should be operating by next February.
Woohoo! Thank you so
2
much.
years.
It is a pleasure to talk, and we look forward to following your story.
That's great.